What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I am your host, Eric, and today I want to bring you an important story. House Bill 1967 here in Virginia has been killed by the Republican caucus, and I want to give you a story in three parts. One, the bill and what it was supposed to do. Two, the benefits that would have been reaped by kids all across the state. And three, what we can do about it. So, here we go. And also why it's important to working people. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, ring the notification bell, drop some comments, and share these videos. All right, we learn together. So here we go. Legislation aims to provide free school meals for all Virginia students. All right. Here we are. For 2 years during the COVID-19 pandemic, federal waivers allowed every K through 12 Virginia student to receive free school meals. The waivers expired in the fall, and thousands of Virginia children once again had to pay or acquire debt for their school meals. A piece of legislation introduced by Delegate Mike Mullen, Democrat of Newport News, would use state funds to mimic the federal program and make school meals free for all children. Delegate Danica Rome, Democrat out of Prince William, is carrying an accompanying amendment, a budget amendment of $271.5 million to pay the cost for one school year. Right now, kids don't have money for lunch. Either going hungry or going into school lunch debt is not acceptable, Mullen said at a news conference on Monday. That is immoral, and it's a barrier to our mission to have every school child get a great education. In many cases, for a student to qualify for free lunch this year, their family's annual household income must be under 185% of the poverty level, which for a family of three is about $42,600, so $42,600. In Prince William County public schools, students accrued more than $300,000 in school meal debt by the end of the first semester, according to Rome. School meal debt should not exist as a concept or in reality, Rome said. It is a failed system that allows that to happen in the first place. She said that on Monday. The proposed budget amendment of $271.5 million, Rome said, is less than what the General Assembly had put in last year when they were trying to lure the Washington Commanders football stadium to Northern Virginia. They got a lot of money. They find a lot of money to give to big businesses to come to our state, but they got no money for hungry kids. They think about that. They find a ton of money to give to a big business to come here. They gave it to Amazon. They were going to give it to the Commanders, but they have no money to feed hungry children who are the future of this state and of this country. Just let it sink in where the priorities lie. Delegate Glenn Davis, Republican of Virginia Beach, who chairs the House Education Committee, said the best use of school funds is not to subsidize wealthy families. Hear that line? This is a common tactic of the person who is in office to protect capital and to protect owners and to protect the billionaire class. These folks will always try to pit poor people against each other and working people against poor people. Always. They'll do it for the working poor. They'll do it for the jobless. They'll do it to the homeless. They'll do it for anyone in the burbs to sit there and hate someone who's making less money than them. To sit there and say that these funds shouldn't be used to subsidize wealthy families is just plain old bullcrap. Wealthy families are not worrying about getting free lunch. And guess what? If the very few wealthy families who attend Virginia public schools need free lunch, have at it, Hoss. I ain't trying to hold you back, baby boy or baby girl. I'm not trying to hold you back. You should have your free lunch too. This is a tactic that they use to divide the working class. We need to recognize it. If there was a deal to address the income ceiling for this, I think there's a discussion to be had, Davis said in an interview. But just opening it completely wide and saying that we're going to use school funds to supply every family, regardless of income level, a lunch, I think that's probably a little extreme. He's only using that language to divide up working people. Understand something. This food program would also benefit conservative families, children's, especially poor conservative families. This hurts you. You have no reason to support this. Some students whose families qualify for free meals based on income eligibility are unable to receive the free meals because their parents or guardians don't fill out the required applications. We continue to see more households coming into our pantries than we did before the pandemic started. We're certainly not at the height of the pandemic, but we're above 2019 levels. And with the continued inflation that we are seeing at the grocery store, families are still just really struggling to afford enough food, said Eddie Oliver, the executive director of the Federation of Virginia Food Banks, which oversees all 7 food banks in Virginia. Oliver said he's particularly concerned that the temporary boost to supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits put in place during the pandemic will end nationwide after February's issuance. Sorry, reading too quick. The benefit cliff of March could likely make our pantry lines even longer. And that's where I'm going to stop on this article. But you see that we're trying to get a House Bill 1967 through the chamber to get to a floor vote to be able to be approved. And it's the Virginia Republicans who are against this. And they're using tactics that are very, very, very old to sit there and say that we should means test free lunch for kids. Let me clue you in on something. Virginia's wealthy families send their kids to private schools mostly. They don't send them to public schools. Public schools are for working families. And there are no working families that can't use the help in this inflationary period, especially when eggs are damn near $9 for a pack of 12, a pack of 18. It's insane to me that we're even having this discussion. But this is once again what we have to consider as working families. We have to consider this because those folks in office, for the most part, they're there to keep the wealthy wealthier and to keep us divided so that we never unite, so that we can never agree to change the game. That's the whole aim, and they're very good at it. And we fall for it all the time. So, what's the benefit of even having free lunch anyway? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about it. According to the Food Research and Action Center, school lunch is critical to student health and well-being, especially for low-income students, and ensures that students have nutrition they need throughout the day to learn. Research shows that receiving free or reduced price school lunches reduces food insecurity, obesity rates, and poor health. In addition, the new school meal nutrition standards are having a positive impact on student food selection and consumption, especially for fruits and vegetables. Quick facts. Reimbursable meals must meet federal nutrition standards. National School Lunch Program lunches provide 1/3 or more of the recommended levels for key nutrients. Reimbursable meals must provide no more than 30% of calories from fat and less than 10% of calories from saturated fat. This is more healthier choices for these kids. New nutrition standards phased in since 2012-2013 school year require schools to increase whole grains, fruits, and vegetables served through the National School Lunch Program. So again, these kids are getting healthy choices. School lunch participation reduces food insecurity. Now, if you're doing okay and you don't know what food insecurity is, God bless you. I'm glad you're doing okay and you don't have to worry about that. But for the families that are food insecure, these are the folks that every week they're hungry. You know what I mean? We don't have enough food in our pantry to feed our family, and so we're going outside of that to get some help. According to one estimate, using national data, receiving free or reduced price school lunches reduces food insecurity by at least 3.8%. Among a sample of low-income children entering kindergarten, receiving a free or reduced price school lunch reduces the probability of household food insecurity at school entry, whereas paying full price for school lunch is associated with a higher probability of household food insecurity. Rates for food insecurity among children are higher in the summer, a time when many do not have access to the good nutrition provided by the school meal programs available during the academic year. Here's some more benefits of the food program at school, and especially for lower income families. Improves dietary intake. Children participating in school meals are less likely to have nutrient inadequacies and are more likely to consume fruit, vegetables, and milk at breakfast and lunch. Low income students who eat both school breakfast and lunch have significantly better overall diet quality than low income students who do not eat school meals. The new school meal nutrition standards are having a positive impact on student food selection and consumption, especially for fruits and vegetables. So it's teaching kids how to eat healthier. Packed lunches brought from home by pre-kindergarten and kindergarten students have more calories, fat, saturated fat, and sugar than school lunches, and less protein, fiber, vitamin A, and calcium, according to a study conducted after implementation of the new school meal nutrition standards. Few packed lunches and snacks brought from home meet National School Lunch Program standards. Why? Because at home we buy the sugary treats, and at school they give you the healthier choices. In all honesty, most of us don't do a great job of giving our kids a nice, nutritional, healthy meal, and I can attest to that from when I was a kid. and growing up and not really knowing how to eat as healthy as I should and having to learn how to eat healthy. It's good that we're getting started early with these kids in school. Positively impacts health and obesity rates. Here's another positive that you don't even think about. Participation in federally funded child care nutrition or school meals provided in child care, preschool, school, or summer settings is associated with a significantly lower body mass index among young, low-income children. These findings lead researchers to conclude that subsidized meals at school or daycare are beneficial for children's weight status. And we argue that expanding access to subsidized meals may be the most effective tool to use in combating obesity in poor children. Based on national data, economists estimate that the receipt of a free or reduced price school lunch reduces obesity rates by at least 17%. Receiving free or reduced price school lunches reduces poor health by at least 29% based on estimates using national data. Also, meeting children's nutritional needs leads to a better learning environment because you already know it matters what you eat. Behavioral, emotional, and mental health and academic problems are more prevalent among children and adolescents struggling with hunger. Have you ever been hangry before? That's the combination of hungry and angry. Sometimes when you're hungry, it just makes you angry and you become hangry and you need a Snicker bar. At least that's what the commercial tells you. But you know what I'm talking about. When you're hungry, your attitude is different. And a lot of these children who are growing up in very poor households, they're hungry, and the school lunch helps. Children and adolescents experiencing hunger have lower math scores and poorer grades. You think all they could think about is the stomach aches. Children experiencing hunger are more likely to be hyperactive, absent, and tardy, in addition to having behavioral and attention problems more often than other children. Teens experiencing hunger are more likely to have been suspended from school or have difficulty getting along with other children. Children with hunger are more likely to have repeated a grade, receive special education services, or receive mental health counseling than low-income children who do not experience hunger. So again, it's extremely important that we provide nutritional food for kids, and especially at the grade school and K through 12 levels, we need to be providing free lunch. This is a worker issue because all of us who work for a living and toil for a living have children who go to school, and they more than likely go to public school. So we should all be supporting this. Now, what happened with this bill, Bill HB 1967, here in Virginia? This bill that was going to provide free lunch to kids. What happened to it? Well, the House kills the bill to provide free breakfast lunch in public schools. This is from Monday, January 30th, which would be today. This is out of the Henrico Citizen. It's written by Anna Redilia, Capitol News Services. House Republicans kill a bill that would require each Virginia public school, public elementary or secondary school to provide free breakfast and lunch to students in a 5-3 party line vote. 5-3 party line vote. Party line vote. They do not care about you or your children. They only care about the business men and women, the business class, and the wealthy. Stop voting for them. We have enough problems without having to worry about our politicians only worrying about their donors. Stop voting for them. The bill, HB 1967, introduced by Delegate Michael Mullen, Democrat out of Newport News, was reviewed during the pre-K through 12 Education Subcommittee meeting on Tuesday. The bill would have required every school board in Virginia to participate in federally assisted school meal programs. This follows the recent expiration of pandemic program waivers that provided free school meals across the country. These programs include the National School Lunch Program and the School Breakfast Program and Community Eligibility Provision, both administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Many school programs require forms and applications, which can be an additional obstacle for families. HB 1967 would have eliminated school lunch debt. During the meeting, Delegate Glenn Davis of Virginia Beach, he's a Republican, questioned whether the bill would give free lunches to all students regardless of parental income. Remember, I told you this is a BS argument that donor class supporters always love to throw out there. They do it when it comes to college debt forgiveness. They do it when it comes to debt forgiveness. They do it when it comes to stimulus checks. They do it when it comes to everything except when the money is being given to the very wealthy. Oh, they love that. They didn't even question the $4 trillion during the pandemic relief that went to the airlines and all these other big businesses that then pocketed the money and spent it on stock buybacks. They didn't care about that. No, they care about this other stuff. It's all BS and it's meant to keep you divided. Don't listen to it. He says, I hate the stigma, Davis said. I don't think a child whose dad drives up in a Jaguar and he jumps out with a pair of Jordans on is getting stigmatized because he forgot his lunch money. Ah, it's so annoying. He added that the money could go toward teacher pay or construction of schools. He's lying. They won't support teacher pay increases either, nor will they support the construction of schools. He's lying. In an interview with the Capitol News Service, Mullen addressed Davis's concerns. I don't think that we means test the school bus or chalk, Mullen said. I don't think that we should means test public school. It's incumbent in all of us to make sure that kids are hungry to learn and not just plain hungry. Mullen also referenced the tax bill passed through the House Finance Committee on Tuesday. I think on the same day in which we just voted for $1.2 billion of tax cuts for the wealthiest corporations across the Commonwealth. You see what I just told you? I didn't even get to this part of the article, and I had told you they won't have a problem giving money away to rich people. That we could see fit to make sure that we are doing our best to feed the most needy of our students, he said. But they don't care about you. They don't. Mullen still has hope for the accompanying budget amendment. Thank goodness there's an amendment by Danica Rome. Hopefully, we do the right thing as citizens and we call our politicians and we tell them to support the amendment because they're hell bent on just making us poor, destitute, starving, and hungry so that we do every job for the absolute minimalists of wages and so that we just keep on grinding until we pass out and fall and turn to dust and they reap every bit of profit from our souls. It's all they care about. So thank goodness there's a $271.5 million amendment to pay for one school year, carried by co-patron Delegate Danica Rome, Democrat Manassas. This is a multi-year effort, he said. I think that we've set a high bar on what I and my colleagues in my caucus want, hope, and expect in years to come. This bill could have filled some of the gaps left by the expiration of the federal pandemic waivers in fall of 2022, which had been in place for 2 years and allowed all schools to offer free meals to all students. According to a January 11 survey report by the School Nutrition Association nationally, there has been a dramatic effect on school meal programs, families, and students from the loss of the waivers, said Diane Pratt Havener, Director of Media Relations for SNA, in an interview with the Capitol News Service. SNA is a national nonprofit professional organization representing 50,000 school nutritional professionals across the country. Most schools have had to return to asking families to fill out a free or reduced price meal application form and charging students who aren't eligible for meal benefits, Pratt Heaver said. This application form has always been a barrier for ensuring that students who are eligible for free school meals receive them, she said. The application asks for personal information, including the last 4 digits of a social security number, or that applicants disclose if they don't have a social security number. We're seeing an increase in stigma for students who depend on school meals as a key source of nutrition, and an increase in unpaid meal debt, she said. There are strict federal nutrition standards for school breakfast and school lunch, and it's because of these rules that kids are eating their healthiest meals at school, Pratt Heaver said. We need to make sure that kids have equal access to these meals that include fruits, vegetables, low-fat milk, protein, and whole grains. This is all facts, man. But this is a clear example. This is a clear example of the difference between ideologies. Um, we have a ton of problems. We have a ton of things to face. But one thing's for certain, there is a party that absolutely is dominated by the donor class and serves them to a T. And that's especially true on a state and local level. And then there's a party that at least will help working families. Even though you still got to push them and prod them in the correct direction, they're still, at least they're movable to help working families. We got to get these GOP cats out of office. They are the absolute worst. And if you're a working person and you're still voting for anyone that's on the GOP side, I feel sad for you because you're not part of the club and you just think you are, but you're not. You're working stiff just like me. And you're getting screwed by the very people that you vote for and that you adore. And it's pitiful. But together, we can teach each other, we can learn, and we can fight back. But we have to get past the facade and see what's really happening. All right? My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Please keep in mind that the fight is not left and right. It is up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And remember, there can be no you, no union without you and I, front and center. All right. Peace.